Hello, Danny Smith here. Today I want to talk about my D819RS and what an awesome car it is. Wanted to go over the setup a little bit and share with you the way mine's set up and what I've done to it. So, first off, one of the big differences between, I ran this 817 V2 before, and it had the different drivetrain. The 819's got the lightweight drivetrain, which really makes the car hit on the bottom end. It's really crisp and a quick response. So it's got the lighter drivetrain. The RS has the little bit bigger pinion gear. I'm going to adjust this camera where you can see the car a little bit, not see my ugly mug. So, the front knuckles are 2-degree inclination. Servo saver has a stiffer spring, and the top orange piece, that the retaining nut, I guess you'd call it, is the same, but they machine a little lip off the inside because the inside diameter of the spring is different. Probably it's a thicker spring, I guess. It's tighter. It's a lot harder to bolt together. I run mine almost locked down, so I think it makes a difference. So what else? The shock tower has the adjustable wing mount, so you can see I got my wing all the way up. Gives it more stability at high speed, and while it still turns good at low speed, doesn't really affect that. So also the holes are 1/2 position laid down more. So I still run this hole in the number 3 position. And you see on my car's still dirty from yesterday. We ran the Snap Hard race. I got a TQ and win in that. The car was fantastic, unreal drivability. And I'll go over the changes I've made in the setup and explain why my car is as good as it is. So what else is different about the car? I'm sure I'm leaving something out. The chassis. The chassis is shorter, 2 millimeters shorter. They've got these holes here for the servo stabilizers that they're supposed to be coming out with these pieces that go here on the other side. It's just a little block that goes on each side of the servo to stop flex. There's holes in the chassis for ballast to add weights to it. There's been question about the motor mounts and their inserts, so I went ahead and bought all the inserts because I never ran this. I didn't know what to expect. I'm using the .8 gears now. I can't remember what gear it was. I may try to remember that and post in the link, but they seem to work great. The car has incredible snap on the bottom end. I really like it. So there's a 3 millimeter nut holding the motor mount on now with these inserts, and these lock it in place. I said nut, that's a screw, and there's a nut on the other side holding it down. It's bulletproof. It's never going to come out, never lose its position or anything. So you take it out with the regular engine mount screws. Now on the center drive shaft is super, I don't know if you can see, super close to the engine. I actually ground down the engine tab a good bit, and I use the regular engine screw with no washer to give a little extra clearance. It's tight. It's still tight, but with certain chassis flex, you can see a little mark on the drive shaft where it rubs a little bit. But it seems to be doing fine. I haven't. Some people have bent some rear drive shafts. So there's another thing. The drive shaft chassis is shorter, so the front it's still the same as the regular 819. There's an O-ring in front and back inside the outdrive. I guess it takes up some slack and lets it have something to bump up against. I think so. That's something it didn't have in the 817. Now in the regular 819 non-RS, you put O-rings in the rear as well, and it doesn't really show it in the manual, but the RS has the shorter chassis, so you just run the rear drive shaft with no O-rings in it. They're saying that the drive shaft's a little long, and some people have been putting a tiny bit shorter drive shaft in it. Maybe a certain bump or whatever is bending them. I don't know what. I think they're supposed to be coming out. Maybe they're coming out with a shorter one. Who knows? I just keep me a spare. I hadn't had any problem yet. I've ran this car a lot, and it hadn't been a problem. So now, as far as my setup goes, diffs I run the same pretty much I've ran in my other buggy, which is 752. I run that pretty much everywhere. It seems I've tried a lot of different combinations. That is a good base setup, and it's easy to drive. The car turns great. I have no complaints about it. I may experiment with that some more later, but I really love it. The droop, I run the front axle 1 millimeter above the chassis, the rear 3 millimeter below the chassis. Let's see, the shocks, I have yellow front springs and blue rear, same thing as I ran another one. Similar shock package, is a little bit less thinner oil. I run 45 and 32.5 in the rear is what I've gone to now, and this is mostly running at Warehouse Hobby Racing with a small, tight indoor track. I ran the same exact setup at the SIC, maybe with a few exceptions, just because I've changed a few things since then. The rear hubs, I run the camera links in the center hole on the hub. The inner links, running it one hole up, because these rear hub plates are higher, so I run the inside pretty much to match it. That seems to work pretty good. Let's see, the shocks are pretty much outside hole on both front and rear, third hole on top. That's what I always run. And here's another little tip. One thing I've noticed is these standoffs. Well, here's the car. These standoffs, after a bunch of hits, they'll start to bend the screw and get a little goofed up. So I've put these washers. These washers came with I think they came with my RB car. So I got a little bit longer screw by maybe 2 millimeters, and this washer that gives it a bigger base under the screw for a little more support, and that seems to hold up better. So I've been running that on all my cars for a while now. Once I noticed that problem, I've been doing that. It's been fine. So the back to the setup, I guess on the front, I'm on the lowest hole in the inner, the farthest outside hole on the front. I'm running the 2-degree knuckles with the, also the new inserts, the new bushings for the kingpin are metal now. They have some metal ones that are different heights. I just run the stock ones for now. I might experiment with that later. The car, when I put this setup on here, the car was very aggressive. I'll back up the. Let me talk about the A, B, and C and D blocks. So, in the A block, I've got look, 2 pills up, and I've got the optional 2.8 millimeter plus 2.8 millimeter B block to take away front kick. The rear, I have the -1 C block with the 1 up pills and 2.75 D block which gives it 1.75 rear toe, and I've got 2 up peels in it. That 1.75 toe, the combination of 1.75 toe and the less kick in the front makes the car turn like crazy. It was real aggressive, probably a little aggressive for me, so it was good, but I found myself crashing a little more than I wanted to. So I decided, just for the heck of it, I would try the 20-degree blocks in the front, because that helped me once before, the 20-degree C blocks, and man, that unreal change that made in the car. Much easier to drive without crashing, and now the car is very easy to drive. So yesterday, the changes I made before the Snap Hard race was, I knew I wanted the car to be consistent and easy to drive. The track was not super tacky. It was a little dry. Good, but a little on the dry side. So I took out, I'd already taken out once before when the track was similar conditions, I'd already taken out the bolts holding the center aluminum brace in under the diff. That seemed to help a little bit, but it was still a little sketchy. So I went ahead and put the plastic one in. That really helped the car, made it easy to drive. And also, the rear was, I drove it like that, and it was really good, but a little loose in the rear maybe. So I went ahead and I just bought they have the new, or somewhat new, rear sway bars that are a little off number. Went from 2.6 to 2.5 rear sway bar, and that helped too. I think that really made it easy to drive and stabilize it. Now, there's a couple of sharp hairpin turns that I think it could have rotated a little faster, but it would have taken a little drivability away. So I left it like that because it was easy to drive. I had it real consistent on the car where I could put it anywhere I wanted. I ran Ellipse Aqua tires with some sauce on it, and I heated them up. And in this, at about 15 minutes, this happened. So with 5 minutes to go, they just went away, and the car was still good and still drivable, but it wasn't the same car. It wasn't, before it was like, stuck everywhere, unbelievably easy to drive. So I just backed off. I had a comfortable lead at that point, so I backed off and tried to drive smooth, and it was still good. So overall, I'm real happy. Another thing I tested on here was I noticed Ronafalk and Cole Ogden were running the standard hexes, so I wanted to try that. I'd never really tried them on this car. I'd never really tried them on the other car, so I was blown away at how much looser the car was with the wider hex. It's only 1 millimeter, but I guess that's a good tuning option if you wanted to free the car up a little more. If you're a crazy good driver and like drifting, maybe. But the narrow hexes really made the car have more grip. I was blown away by that difference. So, super happy with the car. So, just wanted to share that with you. Oh, a couple other things, the setup I didn't talk about was I got the hubs moved all the way forward. The rear arms moved all the way forward, I think 4 millimeters. The spacers in the front are 1 millimeter spacer in the front of the hinge pin, the 2 millimeter spacer in the rear of the front hinge pin. And I don't know of anything else that's pertinent to change. Oh, the motor mount adjustment on this car with the 819, both 819s, the new mount. It's a little strange because I don't know what I've got. I can't remember what gears I got. I wish I could, but I wound up with 3-notch inserts, and it's really funny because right now it feels really good, but when I do it with this combination I've got, if I twist the engine this clockwise, it's too tight. I mean, just barely too tight. So when I bolt it down, I twist it like that, tighten the bolts down, and it's nice. With this 0.8 gears, you got to go a little tighter mesh. So I put it in, twist it, and it's pretty awesome. So that about wraps it up. I'm just running the stock clutch, the stock springs. Like yesterday when the car had so much grip in the beginning of the main, it was a little too snappy on the bottom. So I've got some of the smaller clutch springs I'm going to try. It was fine later once the grip went away a little bit, but for the most part the car's unreal good. The sway bar is just stock. The front sway bar is 2.2 stock, and that's about it. I've got the carbon inserts in the rear, the plastic one's glued in the front. It's kind of cold, so I've got the soft arms on the car. I usually do that in the winter time, go back to the hard arms in the summer, or at least when it warms up to somewhat normal temperature. We've been having some crazy weather, so but overall, loving the car. It's fantastic. We'll keep working on it, keep grinding it, and I'm gonna try to bring some more videos here and there when I can. I hadn't brought any lately, so. And there we go. That's my D819 RS. Thank you.